Now I've already opened the project. You can go ahead and continue with what we finished in Part 2, Lesson 1, or if you'd like, take a look in your project files, and under Part 2, Lesson 2, you'll find this project at its current state. Up till now, what we've done is we've data bound our controls to the values that are being provided by our data source. The engine that my developer created for me has also got methods for me to call to cause certain things to happen. I'm going to open my project, and let's take a look again at that file. Now when I open the wordgame.cs, you'll see that it's cut up into fields, events, properties, and methods. Now we already bound to some of the public properties, but let's take a look at the methods. When I expand that, he's already divided them between constructors, public, and private. Now what do these words mean? Well, constructors are used by the developer to initialize the control. If you want to take a look at this, you can see there's some code here for creating a timer, there's some code here for initializing events, but this is primarily what the developer is using to get the word game engine ready to use. What I'm most interested in are the public methods. The private methods are more of his particular code that I don't need to worry about, and in fact, since he marked them private, I can't even access them from within my application. But let's expand the public methods. There are a couple public methods here, in this case, start new game and check word. Start new game, again, there's some developer code here, as well as check word, but these are the two methods that my developer has set up for me to go ahead and call into his engine. Now let's see how I can actually call them. I'm going to switch back to Blend, and the first method that we saw was one to start the new game. So I'm going to expand my menu, go to my new game control, go to my properties inspector, switch over to events, and when the new game is clicked, I want to start a new game. I press return, Visual Studio comes up for me, and now it's ready for me to enter the code to start the word game. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't know how to access the game. Now I'm going to enter a piece of code here. The code that I'm going to enter will allow you to extract the word game that's bound to the data context. Remember when we had that discussion as far as one instance of the word game object? Well, I want that particular instance of the word game so I can interact with it. I'm going to put the cursor up here, and I'm going to type a couple lines. Now before I go any further, I want to show you what Visual Studio is doing for me here. When I typed the word game, it didn't appear in the IntelliSense, and there's a small red rectangle underneath the E to indicate that it doesn't understand what a word game is. Since in my project you'd think it would know immediately, but that's because the .NET framework allows you to have multiple instances of the same word. Word game can mean many different things throughout your project. So here, the .NET framework doesn't know which word game you're referring to. I'm going to right-click it, and I'm going to tell it to resolve it, and I'm going to say using game engines. Where did I get that word? When I click that, you'll see that the word word game turns green, but look here when I go to wordgame.cs file, and move up to the top, there's a namespace, game engines. This is indicating that my word game object comes from this namespace. So when I told my project to use game engines, now the correlation between the word game and game engines is established. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue typing. What I have now is a field. Just like my developer set up these fields that I could data bind to, I'm creating my own field. In this case, I've named my field My Game, and I've said that My Game is of type word game. So anywhere in my application, I'll be able to access My Game. I'm also creating a get clause, which says every time My Game is accessed, this is the code I want to run. Now all this sounds very .NET framework, this is all developer style code, but once you get used to it, these kind of code blocks are going to become very common if you're going to do anything beyond your basic application.